Welcome! It's great to see that you're back to learn more about the Robotic Enterprise Framework. So far, we've learned about the business process, the reframework template states, and the transitions between the states. In this video, we'll be able to explain the key actions that take place within the initialization state, describe how the exception handling mechanism used in the initialization state works, identify the arguments used throughout this state, and explain how the configuration file is used within the template. All set? Then let's open our reframework project in Studio. In the initialization state, the robot reads the configuration settings and opens the needed applications. In our case, this is where it'll open and log into the UI demo application. The first thing that we see in the initialization state is the try-catch activity. It's important to note that the overall exception handling is already implemented throughout the framework. Thus, we can find try-catch activities in every state. In the try block, the robot attempts to initialize, and if an exception is encountered, it transitions to the end process state. So, how does this work? The system exception variable is initialized with the value nothing at the beginning of the try block. If this is the first run of the state, the robot executes the first run sequence. Next, it attempts to open all applications. If an exception is caught, the catches block is executed, where we've assigned the exception object to the system exception variable. The value of the variable determines the transitions from this state. If, upon exiting the initialization state, the value of system exception remains nothing, the robot transitions to the getTransactionData state. If the value is not nothing, meaning it holds an exception object, the robot logs a fatal level message and transitions to the end process state. Now that we've covered the exception handling mechanism used in the initialization state, let's focus on reading the configuration file. To make it easier to maintain a project and quickly change configuration values, a configuration file is used to define parameters that are used throughout the project and to avoid hard-coded values in workflows. The reframework offers a configuration file named config.xlsx, located in the project folder named Data, which can be used to define project configuration parameters. This file is read in the initialization state. You may remember that the initialization state is run at the start of the process execution, and whenever a system exception is encountered in the process transaction state, if retries are available. An additional element that's useful when troubleshooting is the log message used to log the screen resolution. This is for cases when using a different screen resolution causes the application to rescale, which may cause potential failures. It's important to note that the config file is read only once per job at the start of the process execution. The condition is that the value of the config variable is nothing. The config.xl file is read in the init_all_settings workflow, which is invoked in the then block. We can see in the variables panel that config is a dictionary where the key is of type string and the value of type object. This way, we can store any type of value, such as number, string, date, time, and so on. Let's take a look at the arguments for the invoked workflow. We have two in arguments and an out argument. In config file is of type string and passes the path of the configuration file. In config sheets is of type array of string and passes the names of the sheets which contain configuration data. Out config is a dictionary of type string object which passes the data extracted from the Excel file to be used throughout the process. The init_all_settings workflow file is plug and play. No changes need to be made when building a process. Great, now let's do a quick recap of what we've learned in this video. In the initialization state, the robot reads the configuration settings and opens the needed applications. Whenever a different screen resolution causes the application to rescale and fail, the screen resolution is automatically logged and no further action is required from you. The overall exception handling mechanism is already implemented throughout the framework. Thus, we can find try-catch activities in every state. To make it easier to maintain a project and quickly change configuration values, the ReFramework template provides a configuration file named config.xlsx located in the Data project folder. While there are a few more things to discuss about the initialization state, this is a good time to focus on the configuration file. Stay tuned to learn about it in the next video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.